What is up, everybody, and welcome to the first episode in looking at getting LaunchBox and RocketLauncher up and running. These are the remake of the tutorials I started to do nearly 2 years ago, about 18 months ago, and I took them down for various reasons, and because everything has changed, everything's been updated, new features, new emulators, I thought it would be good to start again and get everybody's LaunchBox up and running to a certain standard. Now, I am using RocketLauncher still. LaunchBox has made some fantastic strides in trying to eliminate RocketLauncher. I don't think that's their aim, that's just how I'm putting it with their startup screens, but I believe at this point in time RocketLauncher still has a number of features that I use that LaunchBox doesn't. Now in the future LaunchBox will get those features such as bezels for all emulators, pause screen, but there's more to it than that, which we'll cover over these series of tutorials. So let's get started. What you need to do, I haven't said this for a while, is in the description below there is a link. Click on that link, it will take you to my mega website where you will find this file here. Download it to your desktop and extract it, and you'll end up with this here. But one of the first things we need to do is make sure that we have all the prerequisition files that we need to get all this running. In the description below there is a link to my all my prep tools and utilities. You can download them as you wish. It looks something like that once you download and extract them. What you really want is this prep tools. Simple Austin made the original, I've just added to it, so thanks to him. And you need to install all these here. Okay, so all these prep tools. You may have some installed, it'll tell you that it's installed and do you want to override. Just cancel it if it's already installed, that's not a problem. Also you will need this medium codecs, and basically that will give you K-Lite, which will give you all the video codecs to be able to play videos within LaunchBox itself, or rather BigBox. Now the rest of them you can take it or leave them, they're quite handy to have. In future videos, as I use them, I will point back to that folder, that mega link, so it's not a problem. They're what you need right now. The other files that you need to do is, if you go into RocketLauncher Media and Fonts, so that's RocketLauncher Media and Fonts from your install directory, you need to install this font. So just double click on it. I've already installed it, and click no there. You'll click yes if you haven't got it. And that's just basically for the fade. Okay, so once we've done that, we then need to get RocketLauncher talking to LaunchBox and vice versa. And how we do that is, again, in RocketLauncher we're going to go to RocketLauncher UI, okay, RocketLauncher UI exe. We're going to go to RocketLauncher UI here. Now, word of warning, it may want to update. That's fine, you can just do the following update. I've updated it and it should be okay, but just to warn you that some people may get, depending on how long they leave this from the video, they may get an update. That's fine, just update it. Then we're going to go from RocketLauncher UI to front ends, and we're going to add a new front end. We're going to call it LaunchBox. We'll do it with it properly with a capital B. I think that's properly. It is in my head. And then we're going to go to our LaunchBox exe. Now, RocketLauncher UI plugin, select them both as LaunchBox. You can actually have this bottom one as RocketLauncher UI. That's fine. I'm going to do both as LaunchBox. We're going to save that. And once we saved it, we're going to set selection as active front end and set selection as default front end. So these third to last and second to last options here, you'll notice that will come here. Okay, that's great. Yeah, we'll come back to this in a minute as we'll look at setting everything else up. But first off, let's set our LaunchBox up. Now, today's episode I've taken Sega Genesis, or Mega Drive as it's called in where I live in the UK. This is the US set. Okay, So 782 games that you get. I'm not going to provide that, obviously. That's up to you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take those games and I'm just going to slot them in the games option in the LaunchBox file. So the games folder in the LaunchBox file folder that's where that's going. Okay, that's up to you to source. I have provided you with some box art, some clear logo, and cart fronts. So the basic to get yourself going in there. LaunchBox and scrapers the rest, that's fine. Then what we're going to do is going to open LaunchBox. Okay. You may have a different screen because it may be the first time that you've opened LaunchBox, but don't worry, just close that screen down. We'll do it from here. So we're going to go to Tools and we're going to go to Import and we're going to go to ROM Files. So welcome to the wizard. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add that folder straight in. Games, Sega Genesis. Okay, and I'm going to click Next. So this should be set up here for Sega Genesis because it's a very popular machine. So that's going to look on the LaunchBox database for Sega Genesis games and match names to IDs. Now choose emulator. We don't have one set up, although I have set one up already. But let me show you how to do that. I'm going to delete that. Okay, so we're going to add. So it automatically gives us one of the best options there. I'm using RetroArch, but Fusion is very good. So RocketLauncher put there. Okay, that's automatically come up with the command that the LaunchBox needs, the argument. So we're then going to go back to our RocketLauncher and find that RocketLauncher exe. So that's how you set it up. Okay. Leave everything else blank. Click Next. I'm going to use files in their current location because I've moved them into the game's location. If your files are somewhere else, you may want to copy or even move them from that place into the game's location in LaunchBox. So I'm going to use the files in the current location. I'm going to use LaunchBox Games Database and not Wikipedia because sometimes it can pull down the wrong information more often than not. Now for me, I'm going to undo all the ones that I don't think are relevant or that I've provided. So Box 3D, yeah, Genesis is not really an arcade. Cart fronts I've provided, clear logos, it's not got any discs. BigBox theme, cinematic theme, okay, will be for people with a license. So you can buy a license from BigBox, that's fine. For BigBox from LaunchBox. So there we go. We're going to click Next. Now, if you have an Emu Movies account, you can then use that to draw down additional media, videos, etc. I've decided against using Emu Movies as I found most of the media is out there, especially on places like Arcade Punks, so it might save you a bit of money. Click Next. We're going to look for PDF files for the manual and combine ROMs with matching titles into a single game, that's fine. Click Next. That'll then do some parsing. That's then going to import. It's going to take quite a while to be honest, it's nearly 800 games, so I'm going to pause this video and come back when it's finished. Okay, so welcome back. As you can see, that's imported 775 games. I've got the artwork, I've got the 3D boxes should be there, I've got the clear logo should be there. Okay, now what we're just going to look at before we move on is some of the options that we need to just change. So we're going to click on this three-aligned menu icon, we're going to go to Tools, and then we're going to go to Options here. Now, this depends on whether you have a license or not, to what options you might be able to have or rather not have. So, first off, I want to go to Game Startup. Now, the Game Startup screens are lovely. I actually prefer these to RocketLauncher's fade screens, but having these on causes RocketLauncher issues with RocketLauncher. So it's either we don't use RocketLauncher, which I think has far more functions than just the fade screens. So unfortunately, we're going to have to sacrifice these. I'm sure in the future, though, as LaunchBox features are added, Rocket Launcher will become redundant, and we can just use LaunchBox as an all-in-one. But for the time being, I'm going to turn these off. You can, as I say, I do really like them, what I've seen so far, and I'm sure within time they will drastically surpass what Rocket Launcher can do. But at this precise moment in time, in my honest opinion, it's just Rocket Launcher. Using Rocket Launcher has far more benefits than not at the moment for me. Some people will disagree with that. So what we can look at here is we're going to look at images first, and we're going to go to front box priorities, or rather 3D box priorities. I just want to turn these off. This is personal preference. I just want it box 3D. Okay, the reason being is then it would only show the box 3D. It's not going to show the 2D artwork, and that will just make it look more uniform. Now if you have a pad, you can enable a pad here. This is for LaunchBox. I don't tend to use a pad, I use the mouse, so I'm going to leave that disabled. Retro achievements here, you can obviously register an account and you can gain achievements playing certain games. Don't actually have it tried it out yet. There's bigger things I've been trying to do, but it seems like a really good way, if you like, achievements. It's not something for me at the moment. So in the general then, backups, automatically back up the LaunchBox XML database file. We want that ticked. Updates, we want to check for updates on startup and automatically download updates in the background. You can check the beta release. I would recommend it that you probably don't, unless you want to test it. It may break or slow certain things down, features, etc., especially when it's trying to talk to Rocket Launcher. Sidebar we can leave as default. Game details, if you have a premium account and have downloaded videos, you can obviously tick the videos. Okay, now it depends on what video you want to play back. I have it set to media player because I find it better than VLC. I know it says recommended here, it's just personal experience. LED blinky I don't have, so it's not a problem. Region priorities, you can leave that as it is default. Okay, so that's basically the main options, if you like. Now here we can change the visuals and the boxing, the boxes and the spacing in these boxes round here. Some people don't like them, I don't mind them, so I'm going to leave them as is. Okay, once we've done that, we're going to close that down. Okay, so now we've looked at the LaunchBox options. What we need to do is get them all set up into Rocket Launcher. So we're going to go to our install directory, Rocket Launcher folder, Rocket Launcher UI, and double click the exe. Okay, and there we can see the Sega Genesis, that information being pulled through into a Rocket Launcher. So we're going to set the emulators up. So we're going to go to emulator, and we're going to click this add new emulator. We're going to call it Retrohumanoid with a capital A, and then we're going to navigate to our Retrohumanoid folder. And the ROM extensions are 7-zip and MD. Yours might be different, so you want to check. So you need the name of the archive and the file extension of the archive, and also the file extension of the file inside the archive. The module, we're going to use this one here, this RetroArch CHD one, which is this one here, the 001 RetroArch Beta. Many thanks to Mad Dog K9 for providing that. There we go, then we're going to click save. Once we've done that, we're going to go to Sega Genesis, and we're going to make sure that we have the ROM path correct. So by default it should be LaunchBox Games Sega Genesis, and the emulator we should have is RetroArch, the one we just set up. So it's basically their games, Sega Genesis. There we go. Then we're going to go to modules. Now I have already within the install directory should have configured these for you. So it's pointing to the right core. We want this Genesis plus GX libretro, and the core provided is aspect ratio. Okay. Once we've done that, we then need to go to our settings here, click global, and we're going to add an exit button to our system using the joypad. So I've already done it here. Let me show you what I did. It's basically I've clicked on exit emulator key, I've clicked this A key, add new hotkey, and now we're going to add it here. Now by default I tend to use start and select. Okay, I'm using a PS4 pad that thinks it's an Xbox 360 pad. It's got an identity crisis, and that's going to change that there to start and select. You can use any key combination that you wish, but you can set that here. So that's going to set that. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is go into our install directory and just make sure that we have this temp folder here. So let's move that there and there so you can see. So this temp folder here, and then the extract path is set to that temp folder. Basically what that is any file that's archived that needs to be extracted will be extracted, and that's where it'll be, and that's where Rocket Launcher knows it's going to be. Okay, and we're going to leave that pretty much as default, so it's not going to affect us on this system, but it's nice to get it set up anyway, just so it's running out the gate. Okay, next then we're going to make sure that bezels are set to true. Okay, the fade should be set to true because I've used Retrohumanoid's settings. I've included them already in the build of Rocket Launcher. So next thing we're going to do is try some games. So we go to our system, we're going to click games, so Sega Genesis and games. We're going to do an audit, and there we go. Let's find a game that Alien 3 I like. It's going to load up. There we go. That's all good. Now by default these should work out the bat. So I'm just going to pause it. So press P to pause it, and then I'm going to press F1. These should work out the box rather, using the controls. But if you go down to controls, if your controller isn't working, I always set it to a 6-button pad, and I always set my digital to left analog, or analog to digital type. So basically it means the D-pad and the left analog act as the same thing. As you can see, they're mapped here. If you decide to change them, that's fine, you can do it here. Don't forget to save core remap, or you can save game remap. You can do it on a game by game basis, or as a whole core, so in this case as a system. So that is how we do that. In terms of the other options, there are shaders you can add. I tend not to because I never know what I like. So basically all you do is go to shader passes, click click right to shader number 1. We're using OpenGL as our driver. You can go through these and have a look at these. Now this took me a while. Is if you decide that you don't want them, you can just go to naught to get rid. Okay, and that's about it for setting the games up. As you can see, that's all working there. So now we're going to quit RetroArch. Okay, so there's a couple more things we're going to look at just very quickly that I forgot to do before. Basically, we're going to go to settings, bezel. You can use change the key, so make sure you're on global and change the next bezel key. Now I tend to use home or delete or something like that, so I'm going to add that by clicking there, capture hotkey, we're going to go home, there we go, and then save it. So that will change the bezels. I've given you a number of bezels to work with. Okay, and then also here, just because it helps speed it up, if you turn this off, the logging level, basically it will speed everything up. If you have problems with Rocket Launcher, it's recommended that you come here and change this to troubleshooting. This will generate a log that you can view in here. It's really handy. So if you do have any problems with it, if you're on my Discord and send that log, we can just kind of look at it within our Rocket Launcher and see where the errors are. It's quite handy, but it must be set to troubleshooting. That however does slow Rocket Launcher down quite considerably in proportion. Okay, so we've set Rocket Launcher up, we've got fades working. We've set the emulator up in Rocket Launcher, we've done the modules, the games are loading from here, so the last thing we've got to do is just make sure that they load from here. So which game do we try before? Alien 3. So fingers crossed this is going to load. Fader's going to kick in. That looks like it's loaded to me. We'll check that it works, it plays. Working well. Start and select close. There we go. Okay, so I think that's it from me. I think we've covered all the bases there. I'm going to try and do these videos on a regular basis. I'd like to have done them before Christmas, but obviously real life has got in the way. So if you did like this video and found it really helpful, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, then don't. If you really like this video, there's a PayPal me button at the top of my channel, or in the PayPal me link in the description below. But either way, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you soon.